Hanger 51. It's Saturday night. It's raining. Just got back from a car show. Let's see who's going to get here first. Shadow, I'm betting. Mike Bird's been snoozing lately. So let's see. Maybe SSI. Mike SSI. Maybe who else jumped in one night early? I don't know. I'm sure I'm going to find somebody here shortly. Of course, they're all, since I've been late 3 weeks in a row, they're probably all thinking I'm not going to be here on time, which I'm not on time, but I was close. Very close. There he is. Michael Bird's on top of it tonight. All right. Good to see you, buddy. So what's going on, Michael? What's new and exciting? Anything? Somebody asked you this last week, and I don't know if you answered it or not. You still doing the races at the church? You were there today. All right. Cool. Good to know. Good to know. I know somebody asked it last week. I don't know if you answered it or not. I didn't see the answer, so I could have missed it. But that's cool. Good. Good. How many showed up? How many did you have? Jeff in Lower Alabama, what's up? Good to see you, buddy. So, Jeff, I haven't been in your show on a Friday because the car club I belong to, actually, there's several car clubs I belong to, has started doing shows on Friday night. And I've been trying to support that locally here so that it'll build a bigger following. So I haven't been home on Friday nights at all. I'm not even close to home. so so I apologize for that. I'll get back to you. Once we get this car thing nailed down, where we're got some consistent places that want us there, which has been pretty positive. I got to say, we've been getting a lot of positive reviews from it. They're offering us big discounts on food and stuff, and we got a big discount when we went up to the Don Garlitz Museum last weekend. So it's been doing pretty well. Pretty happy. It's good that we're warmly welcomed. So that's cool. Phil, what's up? How you doing, buddy? So let's see. Hey, Philip, are you still driving a Mustang? I gotta find my yellow Mustang. I think it's over here somewhere. I'm gonna work on this for a minute here. Yep, just change the oil on it. Okay, what year Mustang you got? What year's yours? 2005. Oh, cool. That's see if I could find an '05 Mustang, I'd buy it. That's the year I like. That's before they start screwing it up, in my opinion. I don't like how they change the tail lights and the headlights and all that nonsense. I don't like any of that. Is your new what color's your new one? Is it silver? Am I right? For some reason I thought it was silver. Um, yeah, if '05 was the first year, yeah, that's the one I like. If I could buy one, that's the one I'd buy. Yeah, I'm looking for the first generation of the new style one because it was the best looking one. It looked that's the closest one. It looks like a '69, and I loved it. Oh, the new one's black. Okay. Yeah, it's all the way to 2010, and then they started messing with it. Okay, good. Thank you for that. I've been wondering just how long that first style went before they changed it. So I'm at the show last night, car show, and I'm talking to a guy. He's sitting there with a 2019 Shelby Mustang, and he tells me he just put an order in for a brand new. I guess it's a 2027 Dark Horse Mustang. Unbelievable. Um, oh, is that right? The same guy brought. Oh, no kidding. Huh, that's interesting. That's cool. That's very cool. So this guy, go ahead, take a guess, everybody, how much you think a brand new Dark Horse Mustang that he custom ordered from the factory. Guess how much that thing costs? Unbelievable. Yeah, yeah, 850 horsepower, which is the Hellcat basically. Oh my God, that Michael, not even close. That wouldn't pay for the tires on this car. Literally. No, 150 ain't there yet either. No. Not quite there, Philip. Now, 150's close. Not there, but it's close. I think so. All right. So he paid 10% over MSRP. I asked him, did you fall and hit your head lately or something? Why would you order a brand new Mustang? And then he's sitting there complaining about all the new cars that are going to have the camera facing the driver, and he just orders a brand new car that's going to have that in it. And oh, by the way, there's going to be a buttload of options on that car that are going to be a subscription to use. So he won't be able to use like the remote key start. That's it'll work for the first 90 days or whatever. And then if you want that to keep working, you have to pay a subscription to keep using the remote start. And I don't know what else, but things like that. And they're just going to keep tacking them on. So why anybody would buy a brand new car today, I have no idea. You couldn't get me, you couldn't give me a brand new car today, literally, because I don't want the factory telling me what I can do with my car. That's just bullshit. Okay, if I paid for it, it's mine. You're not going to tell me that now that use the options that came on my car, I have to pay a subscription to use. That's just fucking crazy. Uh, Wiggs, what's going on? How you doing, man? So yeah, so it was $178,000 for this Dark Horse Mustang. I just couldn't believe it. $178,000. That's more than That's more than double what I paid for my house on 3 acres of land. That's more than double what I paid for this place. Unbelievable. I can't believe it. I just can't believe somebody would pay that kind of money for a Mustang. I don't know what and he's an old guy. It's not like he's going to take it to the track and race it and shit. He's not. So I don't know I don't know why what would possess him to spend that kind of money, and why his wife stays with him after he just spent that kind of money on a car. Um, Ed Beaven, what's up? How you doing, man? So anyway, that was just insane. $178,000 is just in fucking insane money for a car. There's no. When I think about I bought 5 Hemi Dodge products: 4 Chargers, two Daytonas, a Super B, an RT Charger, and a Magnum, all with the Hemi in it. And I only paid $15,500 for all 5 cars. 15,000, and he paid 176,000 for one car. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. Shit, fuck. I don't know. That's just insane. I don't know what the fuck he was thinking, but that's just, I don't know. I did see a saying tonight, though, guys, that so I'm going to give him props for that. So I never saw this saying before, and it pretty much sums up everything. I've heard all these other ones before, but I never heard this one. It was on the back of a window of a Mustang, and it said, um, I think it said, uh, "Living for memories, not for dreams." Um, or maybe it was just live for memories, not for dreams. Okay. And that's, so essentially he's saying that, this guy is buying his dream car because he wants a memory when he dies, not a dream, So I wouldn't buy anything past 2013, Philip. And I'll tell you why. 2013 was the last year for 2.4 gigahertz on the cell towers and shit, so that they could talk to your car. Then they switched to 5 megahertz, and now they can't. So cars that are 2013 and older, they can't talk to. So they can't download something onto my car because my cars are too old. Starting in 2014 when they switched to 5 gigahertz. Now so they can talk to any car. Now whether that car has software in it that can accept it or not, I don't know. But they're still talking to those cars. Anything 2014 and newer. So I won't own anything 2013 or newer. My truck's a 13. They can't talk to that. My '09 Pontiac, the guy took the OnStar out of it, and now I know why. Because that's how they communicate with the car through the GM is through the OnStar module. But yeah, so anything newer than that, they can download a file into your car that will, update your computer in the car to allow them to start charging you services where they can turn your shit off in your car and they make you pay a service, subscription, to turn it back on, like remote start or your heated seats. And I'm just going down a list of things I read that other companies are doing. So I know the heated seats BMW is doing. I think Honda is the remote start. Ford, if won't allow the self-drive function. If you've got a new vehicle that has the self-driving capability, you got to pay a subscription to use that. You get it for 3 months free for a demo, and then after that you got to pay. So every company out there is doing it. They're all doing it, and they're going to keep pushing it. They're going to keep, So I'll never own anything newer than 13. I'm just not going to do it. The little airplane is about as simple as a 55 Ford. The little airplane. What little airplane are we talking about, Michael? Michael Bear? What? Good to see you, buddy. Yeah, what little plane are we talking about? Or are we talking about any little plane? Yeah, you're right. They're all doing it. Audi's doing it. Hyundai's doing it. Kia's doing it. They're all doing it. Toyota, everybody's doing it. Everybody's doing it to different levels, but they're all doing it. I haven't heard, but they're probably doing it. But Stellantis, Dodge, I haven't heard Dodge charging a subscription yet on anything, but they probably are. I just haven't heard it. But I looked it up one day, and every car company, they're going right down the list, and they're all doing something. They're all charging a subscription to use features on your car that you paid for when you bought the car that now you don't have access to. And it's been in court several times. And you have a contract. You sign a contract on your car, and the verbiage in the contract says they have the right to make changes without notifying you. And because it's in the contract, the courts are upholding it. So, having a feature in a car that you paid for and losing control of that feature is being allowed. The courts are allowing it. So what exactly is a fucking contract? If you can put verbiage in a contract that is subject to change at any time, then what the fuck is a contract? I don't understand. And so far, they're winning. And Michael's he just sent me a link here. Let's see what it is. It's a YouTube video. Let's see what it is.
My name is Steve Wood, and I'm the president and CEO
It looks like a little
of Spirit
Mustang.
Engineering here in Grand Junction, Colorado. And I'm standing in front of our beautiful Spirit SE1.
Oh, that's that one you want to buy.
Powered with our own design and developed V2
What do they call
engine.
that thing? The simple
Spirit SE1 is all aluminum construction.
Spirit SE1. That's it.
It's AD.
Yeah, that's the plane you want to buy. I don't want a one-seater. I'm sorry.
Rivets, not
if I'm going to go flying, I want to take somebody with me. I don't want to go alone. What the fucking fun is that? I don't want a one-seater. I want at least a two-seater. You bought one? You did buy it? When you getting it? I imagine they have to build it, right? Or are you going to go to the factory and help them build it? Yep. Customers are signing with the manufacturers so far. I mean, they're just shoving it up our ass. So the only way to stop it is don't buy new cars. That's what that's what I've been telling everybody. Don't buy a new car. Buy an old car. Don't buy. They're not reliable. They're just putting out nothing but junk anyway, and the contracts are worthless. They're going to change. You're going to eventually end up having to pay a subscription just to start to drive the car. Or to be able to put it in gear. You'll probably be able to start it so you could sit in and enjoy the air conditioning, unless there's a subscription to use the air conditioning. But you won't be able to put it in gear unless you pay the subscription. So it takes 2 years to get it. Okay, where's the factory? Where do they make them at? That's really cool. Like I said, I would want a two-seater. I have a feeling I know why you picked a one-seater. Colorado? No kidding. Wow. Have you been out to the... Yeah, you know what? I think you did go out to the factory. You went out there, didn't you? Oh, yeah, it's a beautiful airplane. I agree, Michael. It's definitely a beautiful airplane. But like I said, I would want something, it's a two-seater so that, I can take somebody with me. We can go enjoy it together. I mean, it's not a fighter jet, I mean, I can understand being solo in a fighter plane and you go out there, dogfighting and shit. That's different. But this is a casual, have fun fly type airplane. Go places. I would like to go with somebody. I don't want to go alone. So what the hell's going on here? Oh, that was weird. Costs 3 times more to have a two-seater. Wow. Man. How much is that thing? Probably cheaper than the Dark Horse Mustang. That wouldn't surprise me a bit. Oh my God. I can't believe that Mustang's that much money. That's just insane. No, what's insane is somebody would pay that much money. That's what's insane. I don't, their MSRP can be whatever they want it to be on. But the fact that somebody would pay that, unbelievable. So it's 200, uh, so they have 200 orders, is what you're saying, Michael? So how much are they? What's the base price of that thing? How much does it cost? I hope this doesn't turn into another icon. 69,000? That's all? Really? Is it ultralight or light sport? Or what's the classification? Could be an ultralight, huh? $2 an hour. Light sport. Wow. That's awesome. So all you need is a driver's license to fly that, right? I mean, you can't fly it at night, and I right, but I think light sport you just need a driver's license. The 69,000. If you want somebody to go with you, you buy two. They could fly their own. That's cheaper than buying a two-seater. Just buy two damn airplanes. Oh, okay. So you still have to have a pilot certificate, but no medical. Okay. All right. I knew there was something different about it, but so you still have to have your ticket, and then but no, you don't have to pass a physical. So that's cool. You can fly at night. Yeah. Okay. All right. So where do you plan on going in this airplane, Michael? You don't fly your Grumman very much, do you? It sounds like a Harley. Oh, God. Oh, excuse me. That's not a plus, Mike. I think that's an awesome value. Yeah, 69,000 for that. I think that's an awesome value. That's actually something I might consider getting. What's the takeoff and landing runway? How much runway does it need? Oh yeah, a plane like that you can land anywhere. Is 800 feet enough runway? Oh, so you can place an order and reserve a serial number for $500. Yeah, hopefully it doesn't turn into an icon. That's all I'm worried about. They'll get so many orders they can't fulfill them. The price will keep going up. It'll spin out of control, just like Icon did, and then crash and burn. Not the plane, but the company. Oh, Michael, it wouldn't take me 2 weeks to get my ticket. There's a right up the road here. Crystal River has a pilot plan. They get you your license in 2 weeks. So I don't know what it costs. It used to be affordable, probably not anymore. But yeah, they have a fast start uh, program here. I can have my ticket in 2 weeks. Is so I don't. You threw a name out there. Is Steve Wood the guy that came up with the icon? Is he the inventor or whatever? Is that who came up with that thing? Yep, that's how it works, Michael. You fly every day. They have classroom and flying every day for 2 weeks. Yep, they've got planes up there, ready to go, and they even have cabins. They put you up right there if you don't, if you don't live close by. They've got cabins there that you come and you stay there. You just live there. You get up, you go to class, you go fly. You go to class, you go fly. Yeah, it's a pretty cool program. Um, oh yeah, well, I'm not moving to Colorado. No, I'm sure. Well, first of all, I'm sure I'm not healthy enough to build airplanes. To be honest, I would be a deficit. I mean, I could do the work, but I couldn't do it fast. What's up? How you doing, man? Good to see you. I know that question's for Juno, Michael. JCB, what's up? Good to see you, man. So I had to go to the Social Security disability doctor today, and that was a total fucking waste of time. Just a total fucking waste of time. Um, they so I go in there, and this doctor, uh, all he's checking is my range of motion, you know, including whether that I can smile and frown. Yeah, I'm not shitting you. I had to smile and frown for him. Move my hands like this and like this, and move my neck like this, and move my hands and up and arms, and he's just checking range of motion. That's all. That's all it did. And I told him, I said, range of motion's not my problem. That's not what's wrong with me. He says, well, that's all I'm evaluating here today. That's yeah. I said longevity, is duration. That's my problem. He says, yeah, you have to go see another doctor for that. I don't do that. They could have just asked me over the phone, how's your range of motion? Yeah, I can move everything. Everything works. I can. Yeah, yeah. So total waste of time. Total waste of time. Yeah, the only reason I didn't go for that, Juno, is they would probably take my driver's license. I was thinking about coming up with something like that, but my friend just had his license pulled. Uh, no warning at all. He just went in to see the doctor, and the doctor, without even telling him, did some kind of test, just a memory test, and he failed it. So he asked him, "Where's your driver's license?" He says, "Well, I left it at home." And he says, "Well, you need to bring it back here. I need to document it." And when he brought it back, he took it. The doctor took it, and he says, "Yeah, I'm sending a letter to the DMV. You're not driving anymore." I think he's 92. He comes to the car shows every week. That's all he does. He doesn't go anywhere. He just comes to the car show, my Tuesday afternoon show, and just sits in a lawn chair with the rest of us, and we just sit there and shoot the shit, not hurting anybody. And the doctor took his driver's license. So if I'd have done anything at all to show my mental, incapacity, they would have pulled my driver's license. So I certainly can't have that. So yeah, I'm um, couldn't do that. But yeah, it was a total waste of time to go to this doctor. No, he didn't check that particular motion, Michael. Um, you know, yeah, he did check to see if, you know, Could I force him my fingers open and closed? Yeah, but he didn't actually check to see if I could raise my middle finger. I should have asked him that. Um, yeah, no, I don't. I don't think the number of model airplanes I have would be a determining factor either. You know, at least not for pulling my driver's license. Maybe for denying my disability because I have too much money invested in material items. You know, you know. But I don't think the airplanes would be it. Probably when he finds out that I have 21 cars, 3 motorcycles, and a truck, that would probably put it over the top. Yeah, yeah, that would say, well, if you can afford all that, you don't need disability. Okay, so I'm calling the attorney Monday. I'm going to ask her exactly what are you doing for me? Why did I hire you? Okay, because everything is going straight to me, and you're being copied on it, and you're not saying no to anything. So you're completely on board with them sending me to a doctor that has no qualifications at all to determine, my injuries, my disability. So what are we wasting time about? What is this all about? So because I might fire her, Monday. I don't know. I'm just pretty fucking over it. Yeah, the concrete drawing live stream. Yeah, they might put me away for that. Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. All I know is I was worried over this whole fucking thing, and it turned out to be a just total waste of fucking time. There absolutely nothing. They didn't get anything out of that at all. And why my attorneys didn't object to this, why they didn't look into it, and that's what I'm going to ask her. You know, when I got asked to go see another doctor, why didn't you guys step in and find out what kind of doctor? What are we looking for? I mean, I don't have time to waste. I'm a busy man. I mean, I really am. I've got so much to fucking do, um, and no time to do it because it takes me so long to do something. And then to waste my gas and my time to drive up to see a doctor that has what he checked me for has no bearing whatsoever on my case. So it was a total waste of time. Oh no, Michael Bear. If I go back to see him again, I'll be testing way more than my middle finger range of motion. You know, way more than that. My middle finger will be the least of his fucking worries. So yeah, my glue drying videos. Well, how about the prop balancing videos? You know, where's Michael Wrights at when you need him? Hey, let's talk about our favorite radio. Yeah, well, how about that? Let's just talk about what's your favorite radio? Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I don't know what I'm just going to tell her. Listen, by March, I'm going to be filing for regular Social Security. You'll be fired because I can't go any. That's my. Next March is when I have to file for my regular Social Security to get it by October. So, you know, so if you guys don't have this resolved by then, you're fired. There's nothing. I mean, they haven't done a thing. They haven't objected to anything. They're not calling Social Security to find out what the fuck the holdup is on this case. And they're so, right now in Florida, and now I know why. They're so backed up here in Florida that the last contact I had with Social Security was Social Security of New York. And I asked her, why am I talking to New York? And she says, oh, well, Florida's so overwhelmed with cases that they sent them up here for us to get some basic information, because they're too busy. Oh, really? Did I pass the smile frown test? Apparently, that's the problem, Michael. I think I passed all of the tests. The only one I might have failed is walking across the room, hopping on one foot and then the other. I think, because I almost fell down every time I did something, standing on one foot, hopping on one foot, walking in a straight line, toe to heel. Um, uh, yeah, I mean, I didn't fall down, but I almost fell down. I mean, he tried to catch me like 6 times. So, so I don't know if that's considered passing or failing, but as far as just moving my arms and legs around, yeah, all that shit works. That was never in debate. So I don't know. Gonna find out Monday. I'm gonna call her and tell her exactly what did I hire you for? What are you doing for me? What exactly is going on? And see what she says. Because she should have intervened on this. And so, what is this doctor going to evaluate? And oh well, just the range of motion. And it says, okay, well his range of motion's perfect, everything works, so we can skip that doctor. What's next? Why aren't they, fielding this shit? What are they? I mean, they're just standing on the sidelines. Literally, I'm in constant contact directly with who I'm talking to at Social Security. My doctor's just copied on them. They send a letter to me and they copy her. But she's not talking to anybody. They're talking to me directly. I'm talking back to them directly, and then I get a message, 2 days later. Hey, you were supposed to meet with the doctors on Tuesday last week. Did you go? Oh, thanks. You guys are right on top of it. Thanks a lot. Yeah. So I'm thinking you meant that your heart pills are giving you, not Mister, but me, vertigo. Found out fishing off a pier. Did you fall in? Did you fall in the water? You're kidding. So a guy shows up for work on a farm in his pajamas without work boots. What was his job at the farm? Because mucking out a stall in pajamas with no work boots would be pretty ridiculous. See, you didn't fall in the water, but you were wobbly. Okay. Oh well. I was hoping you had some video. And how young was this bozo that you had hired out at the farm? All right, so I'm gonna tell you a little story here. So I told you guys last week that we went the Mopar Club went to the Don Garlett's drag racing museum last week. It was last Saturday. No, no, it was Sunday. We went up Sunday. Um, oh my God, what did he do that damaged $25,000? Holy shit! And he still had a job after that. And then he has the nerve to show up in his pajamas with no work boots late again. He's always late. Yeah, this is what kills me. Everybody wants to hire young people. They won't hire an old ass like me that will show up on time and work hard as I can. And no, they'll hire a young kid that shows up late. He's probably on his phone all fucking day, but instead of working, shows up in his pajamas, does $25,000 worth of damage, but they don't fire him for that. They wait till he shows up in his pajamas late again with no work boots, and then they finally fire him. I mean, your boss is a saint, Philip. Did he put up with all that long? That's ridiculous. $32. Yeah. So he wasn't a kid, he was an adult with no responsibility. A fucking, yeah, and that's what I'm talking about. I mean, people today are just, they don't give a shit. They just don't give a shit. I guess, everybody, in this generation, what is he? Generation, I don't know. What do they call them? Z or E or I don't know, X? I don't know, generation. I guess their parents were wealthy and just do everything for their kids. Like the girl I was dating, this amazing woman. I mean, I'd marry this girl. She was just brilliant. The nurse practitioner who has a PhD and is a teacher of medicine to nurses and and I guess some doctors too, depending on what they're what classes she's teaching. But so she's a teacher and holds a PhD. She's blonde too, by the way. So when we were dating, I gave her the okay. So when because I was with her when she was dating me when she got her PhD. I said, okay, you can't use the dumb blonde any longer. You can't be a dumb blonde and hold a PhD. She just laughed. Yeah. I said, so that's out the window. So don't push that button. Wonderful woman. But we had a disagreement about how she was raising her kid, because she was giving her kid everything. Wasn't teaching him how to be a man, how to fend for himself. Mommy's taking care of everything, paying for everything, and I just didn't like it. And I told her that. And that was when she ended our relationship, because I was trying to tell her how to raise her kid. And I wasn't telling her how to raise it, just making suggestions. And I just said, you're not preparing this kid for life. I said, what is he going to do after you die? How is he going to survive? He doesn't know how to do his own laundry. He doesn't know how to cook. All he does is sit in his room playing video games. And this kid's probably in his 20s, probably late 20s. He had a job working for a home shopping network as a customer service rep, working from home. But at that time, he was working, he was sharing a house with two other guys. And I think all three of them worked at home shopping. And I don't know what happened, but they decided that they couldn't share the house any longer. So he's moving back home. And I'm just like, he's a grown man. Why is he moving home to stay with mommy? What are you teaching him? How's this guy ever going to fend for himself if you can't cut the cord? And that was when she ended our relationship. Oh, we've talked. She don't hate me or anything. We've talked since. I think we actually went out to dinner once just to catch up. So, we're very civil. It's not. I could probably call her up tomorrow, and she'd probably meet me over here at Applebee's for dinner. So I don't think there's any animosity, but, she just didn't need my input on how to raise her child, which is fair. She doesn't. Just because I don't agree with it doesn't mean, that I'm right, she's wrong, or whatever. But, but yeah, I don't see how this kid's going to survive after when she's gone. How he's going to fend for himself. He has no ambition to date women at all, which is most men today. Young kids growing up, they're not the least bit interested in women. Don't want to date, don't want to get married, don't want to have kids, don't care. They want to play their video games, eat, and sleep. And if they have to do some kind of job to pay for their video games, well, then that's the bare minimum. That's what they're going to do. The bare minimum to keep their gaming going and keep living with mommy so that they don't have any real responsibility. Okay, well, if that's what you want to do, who am I to tell you you're wrong? It's not the way I was raised, but not the way you were raised, but so. Yeah, I worked on a kind of a farm for a month for a woman. She almost burned the place down. She had started a fire before I got there that day. And she wasn't watching it. And it took off across the yard. And by the time I got there, there was a circle in the yard that was probably 100 feet across, just burning out. And it was just about to reach the barn where the hay was when I got there. So now we're not talking about flames ass high. We're talking about, maybe 6-inch high flames. It's 4 inches, little tiny. It's just burning the dead grass. on the ground. It's not even hurting the green grass, but it's burning leaves and dead grass. And I've had a fire like that at my house a couple of times. And you can put it out just stepping on it. All you got to do is step on it and it goes right out. Not a big deal. But when you've got a 100-foot circle, you're doing a lot of running now to put it out, back and forth, to try to stop it from going too far and getting bigger. And so I had to concentrate on the part by the barn first, because if it had made it to the barn, we wouldn't have been able to stop it. Yeah, I agree, Philip. Men under 30 are lost. Obviously, even over 30. You had proof of that. So I got it out, got the fire out. You can clearly see the burn ring. It was no question where the fire had made it to. And after I got the fire out, I went in the house and I said, were you burning something outside? She says, yeah, I was burning some of the scrap wood, from the barn. And I said, yeah. Well, it almost burned the barn down. What? I said, come with me. And I took her outside and I showed her, and she about fell on the ground. Oh my God. I said, yeah, you can't burn something like that here in Florida midday. Yeah, that's why I do all my burning at night. And one got away anyway. I was burning some of my trees I'd cut down and at night. And the next morning, it was just the ashes there. But the ashes were still hot. There wasn't any flame fire, just ash. And as the day got warmer, the grass dried out right around the fire, and a little breeze came along and blew an ash out of the pile, and it landed on probably some dead grass or a leaf, and the wind fanning it fired it off. And the next thing I know, I've got a flame running down, my property line, and it went under the fence. It couldn't go anywhere. There's not even 20 feet of grass between the road. It would have made it to the road and it couldn't have gone any farther. And again, it's a little 3-4 inch tall flame that's just crawling along, just burning the dead grass. So it would have burned itself out anyway. But people on the side of the road pulled over and, you got a fire, and everybody's panicking. And then somebody called the fire department, and I'm like, oh my God. And these are the same guys that came and got my airplane out of the tree. So they got there and, they just put it out. No big deal. They just took a fire extinguisher off the truck. They didn't unwind a hose and go get the fire hydrant, And a couple of guys stomped on it over here, and this guy just took a fire extinguisher, and then they came in and says, haven't we been here before? I says, yeah, you guys got my airplane out of the tree. Oh, yeah, I remember that, yeah. And he just kind of laughed. He says, listen, I doubt you're even going to get a letter for this. There's not going to be a dispatch, probably. He says, don't worry about it. I don't think this is going to be even written up. He says, this was nothing. And I says, I know. And I said, thank you, appreciate it. And yeah, I never got anything. So it wasn't an official fire that they had to put out. But yeah, just, it happens. But yeah, I was cleaning her barn, and taking care. She had one horse, and she was older than me. I can't remember how many years ago this was, but I was probably in my 50s anyway. It hasn't been that long ago. And she was probably, if not in her 60s, probably close to it. And this one was working my ass off. And then when she one day we were sitting down taking a break, and she told me I was working her ass off. I said, I'm trying to keep up with you. And she said, oh, I'm trying to keep up with you. And I'm, oh, fuck. Yeah, no, sweetheart, you're definitely kicking my ass. I said, so, but yeah, I just, she just needed me to get caught up, and then she didn't need me anymore, and that was fine. But yeah, so I know what it's like to muck out a barn and all that fun shit. I grew up I didn't literally grow up on a farm, but I grew up close to one. I was there almost every day. Okay, as a kid we were playing on a farm, so I got familiar with, of course, when you're a kid and you're playing in somebody else's yard, you ask them if you can help, and then they put you to work. So yeah, carry that hay bale over there, and hey, go upstairs in the loft, and there's a chute up there, and throw a hay bale down the chute, and so we do it. We're playing there anyway, and so yeah, so I started out probably when I was 10, working on a small farm. They had horses and chickens, and they grew corn. They had a little corn stand at the end of the road there, or at the end of their driveway, and you could stop and buy fresh corn. And we used to buy a lot of it. So anyway, so I grew up in that situation, so I'm pretty familiar with that aspect of it, and it's not something I would want to do for a living. It's definitely it's a demanding job. I think it'd be the best way to, because you have to feed the horses, and the cows if you have cows, and and clean up after them, and it's I don't know if I'd say it's hard labor. It's physical, but it's definitely demanding, and so. Well, the feminists have blamed all men. They want us all dead. You know, the world would be a better place if all men were dead. They don't want men here at all. They literally think they can do it without us. I watch a lot of these YouTube channels that talk about that. Feminists and women cheating on their husbands, and then wanting the husband to take them back, and and the different um, so and what they do is there's a bunch of different channels that go watch TikTok videos of women, just blasting either their husbands or their boyfriends on TikTok of how horrible they are as men. Whatever and it's not that they cheated, it's that they don't do enough. They don't provide enough. They don't, and it's hilarious. And so this one girl gets on there and complains that a guy asked her on a date, and they're all crying, "We're the good men." Where are the men? They're all the men. Nobody buys them drinks at the bar anymore. Nobody approaches them and asks them out anymore. Because we were told to leave you alone. We don't need you. We don't want you. Go away. And men did. That's what happened. They finally did. And now the women are all bitching. Where'd all the men go? Why aren't they? Are they all? They think we're all gay now. We're all gay men because we don't approach women anymore. No, that's because you didn't want us to approach you anymore. That you told us to go away. You didn't want us, so we did. And now you're complaining that where'd you go? So this one girl gets on there and complains the entire time about this guy that asked her out, and he didn't plan anything. He called her up and wanted to know where she wanted to go for dinner, what time she wanted to go, what day she wanted to go. He's trying to be thoughtful enough to find out what is convenient for her. His schedule's obviously wide open, so he can go anytime, anywhere, whatever. So he's trying to give her, not that he didn't want to plan it or do anything. He just wanted to make sure that it was okay with her. What works for you, because I'm open. So whatever works for you. Well, obviously this other guy saw that video. So he asks a woman out, and he has everything already planned. Where they're going, what day, time, and where, what kind of food. He's already said, this is what we're doing. So this woman gets on there and blasts him because he didn't consider her feelings at all. he planned the whole thing and didn't give her the consideration. Maybe I don't like Chinese. Maybe I don't want to go at 3:00. And so the woman this is her channel, interjects and say, so I guarantee you this man saw the other video I showed you from the other man that got berated because he didn't plan anything because he was thinking of her. And now, so he watched that and decided he was going to plan it all for her because that's what women, and she hated it. And so both men lost doing it both ways, not planning and trying to be accommodating and planning the whole thing because that's what men are supposed to do, take charge. And neither women were happy. So how do you fucking win? I mean, so I've been watching these channels a lot lately because they're funny as hell. That what women expect, and the funniest ones now there's guys now that are going out on purpose, I guess, to embarrass women. All right, so they go out on the street and they interview girls walking by over their what they call their standards. So I don't know if you guys have been on dating sites or not, but I've been on and off dating sites for the last 15 years, ever since Deb and I got divorced. When she'd come back, I get off the dating sites. When she would leave me, I get back on. Never gone on a date with anybody there. They all cost money. I've never spent a dime, so I've never had a date from one of these dating sites. Now, I had a couple of dates on Craigslist back when Craigslist had a social page where you could meet women on there. And I've had a couple dates from Plenty of Fish because that used to be free, and it still is to an extent. But basically, they don't want you to meet these women. They just want you to chat online through their site, and you have to pay to do it. And it's just a moneymaker for them. They don't give a fuck if you ever meet anybody. So I've never paid for any of it. But I've read all the women's profiles, and every profile stands up. They want a guy that's 6'2", 6-pack abs, 6-figure income, and a 6-inch dick. All right, and that's their minimums, And he's got to pay for everything. If I've got kids, his money's my money, my money's my money, and his money's my money. You're paying for everything. You're going to pay for my 9 kids from previous baby daddies, 4 or 5 other men, and goes on and on and on. And I'm just like, these women are fucking insane that they think we're going to, that men are going to do this. They're crazy. And so these guys go on. They go on the street, and they've got a scale there, all right? And they've got it covered up. So they're asking women, so do you have standards? How tall does a guy have to be? Oh, he's got to be at least 6 foot, 6'2". And then they say, well, how tall do you think I am? And the guy's 6 foot. And she says, I don't know, you're like 5'7"? So she has no idea how tall 6 foot is or 6'2". She has no idea, but yet she thinks, that she should have that standard. And she doesn't even know how tall that is, but because she's read it on somebody else's profile, right? So they said, okay, so you think it's fair, that men can't do anything about their height, and you think it's okay to put that standard on men that they have to be that height? And they said, yeah, sure. Yeah, that's what I want. And they said, okay. And then they unveiled the scale, and they said, get on the scale. And she says, no, I'm not going to get on the scale. Why not? If women can have a height, want, why can't men have a weight want? And weight, by the way, is something you can do. You can lose weight. A guy can't grow 4 inches, to satisfy your height requirement, but you can lose weight. So, and of course, none of them have gotten on the scale, not one. They're just doing it to embarrass women. It's hilarious. And then there was these other guys, these 5 guys. That's hilarious. All guys, there's no women. And the 5 guys, one guy's the interviewer. He interviews another guy. He says, so you're looking for women, what are you looking for? And he says, oh, I just want, somebody who brings peace and and what are your qualifications? And I make a 6-figure income, and I'm 6'2". He's not really, it's a gag, but I'm 6'2", and I have I own 7 companies, and I make millions and all this. And then he turns to the 3 other guys that are pretending to be women, and they said, so ladies, what are your requirements? And oh, that's right, this guy's not 6 foot tall. He's, he hasn't told his height. He's a millionaire and all. And they said, oh, and they're all saying, oh yeah, he sounds wonderful, and then one of the girls says, how tall are you? And he says, I'm 5'7". And then all 3 of them, oh no. And then they walk away. Oh no, we couldn't drop pot. And, and it's a big, and it's hilarious to watch these 5 guys keep making fun of women, and then these other guys are actually interviewing real women, and they don't even know how tall a 6 foot guy is. They thought this guy that was pretty tall was only 5'7". So are you looking for Shaq? I mean, is that who you want to date? What the fuck? You thought this guy was only 5'7"? How tall are you? And she says, well, I'm 5'6". And he said, well, obviously this guy's more than 4 inches taller than you. What? And she just can't comprehend it. Well, I just didn't think he was that tall. So yeah, it's hilarious. These women are fucking insane. Yeah, you're right. There's no pussy on this earth worth that. No way. There is no pussy on this earth worth any of that. So, yeah, any of these men that would put up with a woman today are insane, because there's just no way, and there's no way I'd put up with any of that, and that's why I'm, and I got into a conversation about, because I've had 2 divorces. And they talked about how the women took everything. I says, my women didn't take nothing. They didn't get anything. And there was a woman saying, well, how did you manage that? I said, well, in the state of Florida, you only get out of the marriage what you brought into it. Okay, so if you come to the marriage with 1 car, you leave with 1 car. If you come to the marriage with, say a bedroom set, you take your bedroom set. And then anything you accumulate together, you split. But whatever you come with is all you leave with, and then split the marital assets after you were married. What did you accomplish? Well, the only thing we accomplished after we were married was a house with a mortgage and no asset, okay? And of course, they don't want to split that. Both my wives wanted, I want 2 cars or this and that. And I'm like, no. I said, okay, I'll tell you, my first wife, I said, okay, I'll tell you what. You can have whatever you want, but you're going to take the mortgage because you're going to get the house too. Well, I don't want the house. So I said, well, that's the only way. It's all or nothing. You either take the cars and the house, and I walk away debt-free, or you walk away debt-free and I take the responsibility. Which is it going to be? And then the second one, it was, she wanted 2 cars, Deb, and I said, nope, I'll take the 2 cars. You can have the rest. And you can pay for the house. No, I don't want that. I said, well, that's the deal. You can leave with your car and your shit, and that's it. There's no asset here. We still owe money on the house. So unless you want to, and if we split the house, we're both going to end up paying the mortgage off, because neither one of us, we owe money on it. It's not an asset yet. It's a deficit. So I took the deficit both times. They walked away debt-free, other than their own personal credit cards. And each of them walked away with 1 car and all their personal belongings that they brought, and that's all they got. They both came with a car, they both left with a car, they both left with their furniture and their clothes and any personal things. And as far as anything we bought together, the only thing we bought together that I didn't argue over because I didn't want to, my first wife and I bought a boat, and she wanted the boat. And I didn't even want, I could have split the boat. It's all right, we'll sell the boat and split the, what we get. And I just said, you know what? And I asked her, I said, what are you going to do with the boat? You're never going to take it out. I don't care. I want the boat. I said, okay, you can have the boat. No argument. I'm not going to fight. Just, you can have the boat. And she just kind of looked at me. Yeah, I'm not going to fight with you. You want the boat? That you're never going to fucking use? Fine. Get it off my property. Go put it wherever you're going to put it, wherever you're going to pay storage for it. Get it out of here, and you can have the boat. So she did, never took it out. 4 years later, it's been sitting out in the sun and rotting, and she called me and wanted to know if I wanted to buy the boat. I just laughed at her and said, now I don't. If you'd offered it to me when it was still in my port under a tarp, under a boat cover, I would have bought it, but not now. Fuck, I don't want it now. No, forget it. So I don't know what it's. She practically probably gave it. She would have had to give it away. Nobody would have paid her any money for it. So she never used it, and then basically it got probably sold for scrap. And that's the only thing that I had to fight with on my first wife, and Deb and I had nothing. So yeah. So yeah, so neither one of my wives. So they just looked at me like, "Wow, that's amazing." I said, "Yeah, well, you just got to make sure you're protected. That's all." I didn't have any asses. All the cars I owned before the marriage, so she doesn't have right to any of those. So my fleet of cars was mine before the marriage, mine after the marriage. So I think we did buy one car. Well, we bought several cars, but two of them were for her. And then she sold them, the car replaced, and she got to keep the money, even though I bought the car. And then I kept the car that we had bought. So it kind of worked out that, I bought a car and I kept it. And I bought her a car and she sold her car, kept the car, and then kept the money for the car she sold. So I didn't get reimbursed for that. And, but I was okay with it. I didn't have, she was the one complaining. And I'm like, no, that's, like, I'll take my cars plus the two cars we bought as husband and wife, and you can have the house and the mortgage and everything else. And she didn't like that deal. So that's the deal. That's the deal you want. So if that's what a fair deal is to you, then it's a fair deal for me. So I'll take your deal. All right. I'm going to take my cars and two cars from the three that we bought. You can have the one. You get the house. You pay the mortgage. No, I don't like that deal. I says, okay, then you take one car and your things and leave, and and you're debt free other than your credit cards, and I'll absorb the mortgage. So that's how that went down. And so yeah, will I get married again? Not a chance in hell. Everything's paid for now, so I'm not risking that. There's no way I would. Well, I don't know. Maybe under the right circumstances, but I doubt it. I doubt I'd get married. And the only way I'd marry any woman is that she better have more money than me, because there's no way I'm going to put my shit up for grabs. Even though she couldn't touch it anyway, I'm not. I don't want to go through the hassle of it. So, because if she's got more money than me and she wants half of my shit, then I get half of her shit, and she's got way more money than me, so I'm going to make out on that one. So, but that's the only way I'd get married again. Which is when I met Barbara, I was considering that because she was a millionaire. I had no idea she was a psychopath. After she was with me for 3 months and knew she could, I couldn't throw her out because the way the laws were, is when I found out who she really was. And then all bets were off as far as a wedding. When a woman's lying to you, again, just telling you everything you want to hear, they sound like, you know, like an angel, like a goddess, like, where have you been all my life? But when it's all bullshit and you find out later. Yeah, right. Yeah, that felt, yeah. Do you have an OnlyFans? Yeah. Okay, goodbye. Yeah, exactly. Listen, if they have a social media of any kind, no, not interested in dating you. I'm not going to be the next story you tell on your TikTok blog. Oh, it's this guy, and he's got 21 cars and toy airplanes, a grown man that flies toy airplane. Yeah, no, not going there. So if she's on any social media, then no, not dating you. you know, The real killer is you have to fly Spectrum. Yeah, I'm a 5 out of 10, but we're grading on a curve. So that, just like they do in school. So that makes me an 8. Yeah, that's how that works. Yeah. Yeah, I never knew. Craig, you're not married, are you? Actually, I don't think we've ever talked about that. Yeah, I'm assuming you're single. Philip, I believe you're married, right? We all know Juno's got a whore ex-wife. Michael Bear's married. I know that. Uh, JCB, I'm assuming you're married, but I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. Yeah. So, guys, 55 years. God bless you. Now, that's an accomplishment. When I married my first wife, no shit, guys, I was so in love with my first wife that all I could think about was celebrate my 50th wedding anniversary with her. That was the first thing that came to mind when I met her. Was I can't wait to celebrate my 50th anniversary with this woman because I thought she loved me and I was completely wrong. I had no fucking clue that I was just a ticket out of the house and she didn't give a fuck about me. So yeah, I would love to have a wife. I would have loved to have my first wife until you know, she's still with me today. I would love that. I loved loved both of them. That's my problem. Neither one of them loved me. I loved them. They didn't love me. You know, and I don't want to talk badly about both of them were wonderful women. They really are. They're just not in love with me. That's not a personal trait. I mean, it's a personal want or you know, standard or whatever you want to call it. But they were both good girls. I mean, you know, they weren't unreasonable. They weren't bitches. They weren't, you know, they just weren't in love with me. You know, and I was so crazy about my second wife, Deb, that I took her back 6 times, and that's the only woman I've ever taken back once, let alone 6 times. I've been on that, merry-go-round so many times. Women break up with me, and 3 weeks later they want to come back because the guy they left me for either didn't want them or got tired of them already or whatever, and then they wanted to come back to me, and I said, no, I'm not coming back. I didn't take Deb back either the first time. She had to stalk me for 3 years before I took her back. My initial was no. But I was on hard times financially, and she wanted to be needed. That was a big deal to her. She was pissed off that I did my laundry. Can you imagine that women are mad at me because I won't let them do my laundry? Figure that one out. She got pissed over you for your flying. Yeah. Something that you're fine. You're not at the bars picking up chicks or anything. You're out flying in their opinion, a toy airplane. Okay, that's their opinion of it. It's a toy. You're a grown man playing with a toy, whatever. But yeah, and they're mad about it. It's bringing you joy, and they can't stand that. Why? So, oh, you're divorced, Philip. Oh, I thought you were still married. Yeah, I think Deb and I are 16 years divorced now, I believe. Um, yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't let any of my girlfriends or my wives do my laundry. And every one of them was pissed about it. Why can't I do your laundry? Because I do my own laundry. Why do I have to explain it? You don't trust me? I do my own laundry. Can we just leave it at that? You don't have to do my laundry. I'll do my own laundry. Okay? You don't have to worry about it. I'll do all the cooking, because Deb couldn't cook. My first wife, Denise, she couldn't cook. My girlfriend, Lynn, couldn't cook. Linda cooked, but she wasn't a bad cook. She cooked occasionally, but I was the better cook. She'd rather I cooked. After she broke up with me, she invited me over to the house for dinner one night, and when I got there, I had to cook. I started laughing. She says, I said, so what are we having for dinner? And she says, you're cooking. And I said, you invited me over for dinner and I'm cooking? She said, yeah. I said, okay. What am I cooking for dinner? She says, I bought a couple of steaks. I says, okay, I'll cook. All right. So, she made a side something, either potatoes or I don't know. She cooked something. But I cooked the steak, and I was fine with that. I thought it was funny. So yeah, I do all my own laundry, and I do all the cooking. I fix everything around the house, and it still wasn't enough. What can I tell you? Just whatever. Yeah, I actually I have some girls from high school that I still talk to now and then. Of course, they're all up in Ohio. That's where I'm from, and they it's amazing how many of my classmates never left for their hometown. They still live in Willoughby. They were born and raised in Willoughby, and they're still living in Willoughby. I don't know. It's a cute little town. It's not a bad place to live, but I mean, I had to get out of there because I couldn't stand the snow. I guess if you like the winter and like the snow, I guess Willoughby's as good a place as any to stay, I guess. But yeah, I'm just not. I don't want this. I don't like winter. Don't like the snow. Not into the cold. Not into the. Yeah, it's not my. Yeah, we were the other night. We were at a car show at a Circle K, and it was one of those Circle Ks that has the beer cave, right? So my two buddies, I can't stand the heat. And I was laughing at both of them. I'm like, you're kidding. It was a nice night. They had a nice breeze. It was probably in the mid 80s, but the breeze, it felt fine. I wasn't sweating. This guy's sweat's dripping off of him. Big, heavy guy, big guy. And so they want to go to the beer cave. And I thought they wanted to go buy beer. No, they just wanted to hang out in the cave it's probably less than 40 degrees in the beer cave. Probably not 32. I don't think anything is freezing, but probably close. Somewhere in the mid 30s, under 40 degrees in there. So we're hanging out in there, and I'm laughing at these guys, and they're talking about that they keep their house at 62 or 65, and when I told them I keep my house at 81, they about shit. Says, listen, guys, I moved to Florida for the heat. I hate the fucking cold. And they said, well, you must hate it here. No, this is fine. I mean, I'm used to it. I grew up in Ohio, where we had below zero weather and snow. So I get it. I'm fine. But would I keep my house at this? No, this wouldn't be comfortable. If I was, spending a night watching television, sitting in front of a television, and this, I'd have a sweater on or a poncho or something. I mean, I wouldn't be hanging out in my shorts and a t-shirt, not at this temperature, but, So, but yeah, a lot of my friends, even at night, they turn the thermostat way down so they can get in bed and get under the covers. Doesn't that kind of defeat the purpose? You want it cold in the room so you can cover up with blankets? I mean, I don't get it, whatever. Okay, so Anyway, but yeah, I like the heat. So this, right now it's probably, what is it out here? It's actually gotten cooler. It's still 82 out here right now, 71% humidity. But this little fan I've got over here is perfect. I am absolute. I'm not sweaty. I'm not sticky. This is perfect. And that's high humidity. 71%. That's pretty high humidity. Usually, um, in the house, the humidity is usually in the 49, 52 range because my air conditioner's probably too small for the square footage. So the AC, once the AC comes on midday, it never shuts off. It runs all day. So it really doesn't get the house any cooler than 81, 82 degrees, but it keeps dropping the humidity because the air keeps circulating through the coils and it takes the moisture out of the air. As it cools the air and blows it back in, there's no moisture in the air. So the humidity goes way down. So that's why my house is comfortable at 81 degrees because there's no humidity. It's only 52%. And that's, beautiful. So, but, we had this problem when I was dating this girl, Lynn. She had a nice size house, but it had I think a 10-ton AC unit. So it would bring the house from 90 degrees to 70 degrees in, 25 to 30 minutes, but it didn't get rid of the humidity. So we're still sweating, it's 70 degrees in the house and we're sweating our asses off. And I, over look at the thermostat and the humidity's at like 85%. I'm like, that's why we're sweating. So we have to keep turning the temperature lower and lower and lower just to get the air to run, to get the humidity out of the air so it actually feels comfortable, even though now you're approaching refrigerator, temperatures. We're down in the 60s now just to get the humidity down to something reasonable. Right. So same thing, Craig. I mean, there's been a few nights that the humidity's been high because the AC hasn't been running because it's already 78 degrees. When I was coming home tonight, the thermometer in my car said there was 77 outside. So the temperatures are midday is still hot as hell, but at night it's really cooling off, which is surprising for August. It usually is late September, October before we're getting this kind of night temperatures. So this coming in August is really unusual. The nights lately have been very cool, which I still don't understand that, but anyway, that's why right now out here it's beautiful. It's 81, 71% humidity. I got my little fan blowing on me and it's beautiful. So let me say, last week when we were at the Don Garlitz Museum, I came across a display there, and it was a Wix. You know what? I'll bring it up. I'll show it to you. Since I have that capability, let's put the window capture to the top. Okay. All right. Let's open a new window. So this will probably be what opens in my. All right, no matter. I'll make it work. All right, so let's go to... Oh, you should. My Chrome is still not compatible with my AVG. I don't know what part, I don't know which is fucked up. AVG or Chrome. Works fine with Firefox, but doesn't work with Chrome. I don't know why. Okay, so let's go. All right, that's a good picture right there. That'll work. All right, let me grab that. So I'm at the museum and I see this. Uh-oh. Yeah. Oh. Well, why are you warning me about that? That was stupid. Okay, so let me blow this up so you get a better picture. And for you guys that don't know, I'm a huge diecast collector. I have a lot of all different kinds of diecast cars. So when I see something cool like this, so this was on display at the museum. So this is a Wix filter 70th anniversary. It's got a 1970 Dodge Charger. I believe it's probably 24th scale. And then a 09 Dodge Charger. And that one is 18th scale. So it's much bigger than the other one. And it's a two box, two car box. Let me look and see if they have an open. Oh, that's a good picture too. We'll look at that. Yeah, they don't have the box open. But yeah, so that's the two cars. And the detail's amazing. You can see the aerial on the 70, and when you open the hood on the 09, it's got a prop rod, just like the real car does. And the trunk opens, the doors open, the steering wheel moves with the front wheels. These are high-end die casts. So while I'm at the museum, no shit, I was still there. And I said, I have to have this. So there happened to be an old park bench sitting there for, effect. And so I sat down on the bench, I went on eBay, and I found this very die-cast set. And this particular one we're looking at, the guy wants $124 plus shipping. Most people wanted $99.99, $100 plus shipping. And I found one for $60 plus shipping. And so I ordered it right there. I was still in the museum. I ordered it. And then on the way out at the gift shop, I asked them, hey, you don't happen to have that Charger or Challenger, the Challenger Wix filter. You don't sell that in here, do you? And he says, no, we don't sell that. I said, okay. I'd already bought it anyway, but I didn't care. So it came the other day, and it's beautiful. they had the box open there. They were just showing the car, and the paint on the car it's the B5 blue, both of them the same color, and it's just gorgeous. And with that black RT stripe on the side, and on the '09, it was amazing. So it came, and I'm super excited about it. It's really cool. And so I went online to see if anybody was selling an '09 Challenger in B5 blue. And there's one actively on Facebook right now for sale. And it's identical to that one in the picture there. Same wheels, same stripe, everything. I don't know if it's got a sunroof or not. I don't remember if it did or didn't. But it's the B5 blue. It looks identical to that diecast. Hey, Matt, what's up? Good to see you, buddy. So, I've started getting the Blaney race wins. What does that mean? You'll have to elaborate. I'm not getting that one. Oh yeah, the beer cave was fine when we were in there. I didn't mind it. I just thought it was funny that these guys, were like, they couldn't breathe. It was so hot outside. They had to come in the beer cave to. I was like, but yeah. So anyway, he wants 22,000 for it. It only has, I think it has like 80,000 miles on it, which is low mileage for an '09. It looks perfect. The pictures look amazing. It's the inside and out. The seats are like never been sat in. It's in perfect condition. So I don't have that kind of money right now. I don't know if he'll take less. We gotta get the Social Security thing figured out. If that happens soon, I may try to buy that car. If I can get him maybe down to 18, I might even pay 20 for it. I don't know, but I don't have any money right now to do it, so it's not on the. But there, I don't think he's going to sell it at that price. And he's the typical. It's amazing how many people don't know how to sell something. He's got lousy pictures, no description. And they put two pictures of a car up. He put more than two, but these people put up, everything works as it should or something, and put two pictures, and they want top dollar for it. And I'm like, really? You think somebody's just going to, cap off $35,000 for your car with two pictures, and the only description is everything works as it should? That's it? I mean, do you think people are going to be just bashing your door down to buy your car? And they don't get it. They're like, well, what more do they want? Well, I want to see, especially if I have to drive several hours away to come look at your car. I want to see very detailed pictures that if there's any scratches, dents, I want to know about it. I want to know before I go. I don't want to get there and it's got dents all over it and scratches and the paint's missing and there's a hole in the bumper. I don't want, I want to know what's wrong with it. So I need pictures. I need very detailed pictures before I'm going to make the trip to come look at this car, and if you can't provide that, keep it. I'm not interested. So, and these dealers, they put the car up with $3,000 down. So I sent him a message. How much do you want for it out the door? Their reply is, are you interested? I just fucking texted you. How much do you want for it out the door? And you're asking me if I'm interested. You're fucking a genius. Why the fuck would I be texting you how much do you want for it out the door if I wasn't interested? So my reply to him is, not anymore. Fuck you. You know, if you're gonna play games, I'm not in. I'm not playing games because so keep it. I don't want it. So that's what my reply was. You know, when he said, "Are you interested?" I said, "Not anymore." And I left it at that. And the car's still for sale. It'll be for sale for months and months and months. You know, because these kind of dealers never sell anything. So anyway, I was really excited about this car. I'll be very excited if I can get the matching real one to go with it. That'd be cool. So we'll see. I could just get off my ass and get 2 or 3 of my cars that I'm going to sell anyway, ready and sell them, and then I'd have the money to buy that car. So we could go that route too. I have 3 cars for sure. I buy the 04 CTS and the mirror copy of my 06 Daytona, and then the white Buick wagon. Those 3 cars, all 3 of them are running, drivable, cold air. The wagon needs the most work, cosmetic work. Everything mechanical's fine. The Cadillac needs the radio fixed. The radio doesn't work. Everything else is fine. I want to do some paint work on it. There's no rust. There's just clear coat peeling in a few spots. So I want to touch it up. And there's a rear end bushing I need to replace. You know, it's just a rubber bushing that if you purposely get on and off the throttle, you know, to do the rocking motion, you'll hear it clunk. If you just drive it normally, it never clunks. Even putting it in gear or anything, nothing. You'll literally have to bait it, you know, by getting on the throttle and then getting off the throttle hard and back on the throttle. And when you start doing that, you can get it to clunk. But the bushing will fix that. So, and the Daytona just needs, honestly, the Daytona just needs a good buffing. You know, just need to clean the paint up, vacuum it out. I already cleaned the seats. They came out real nice. So I did that. But yeah, if I sell those 3 cars, I'd easily have enough money to buy that one. So anyway, that's just something I'm, you know, on the hunt for also. But I really love the diecast. It's beautiful. Mine looks just as good as the one that was on display at the museum. Absolutely beautiful. I can go get it if you want to see it. I don't know if you're into that or not, but it was all still wrapped in this protective plastic, and I really haven't even. I kind of unwrapped the 09 a little bit, but I really haven't had either one of them out of the box sitting on their tires. You know, I just, you know, they're packed in foam, and I took them out and I looked at them, but I left the plastic on them. But you know, I'm sure I'm going to take the plastic off and look at them. But I'll probably put them back in the plastic and put them back in the foam box until I have, I don't know. No, it's not a bushing, Craig. It's a rubber isolator on the housing. It allows the rear end, you know, from the torque to, you know, rotate enough to make it clunk. We had it on the lift. When I bought the car, he had a lift at the place we had the car at. We put it on the lift, and I found it. And he couldn't find it, you know, because he knew it clunked. When I took him around the parking lot and made it clunk for me, he says, "Oh, yeah, that. I forgot about that." Yeah, sure you did. And I said, "Can we put it on the list so we can see what it is?" And when I got on the lift and I showed him what it was, and we made it clunk right there while underneath, he says, "Oh, well, fuck, if that's all that is." You know, he wanted to jack the price back up. He says, "Hell, I'll fix that, you know, and I'll charge you this much for it." And I just looked at him. He says, "I'm kidding. I'm just going to sell it to what I told you." And I said, "Okay." But yeah, we confirmed what it is. It's nothing, you know, it's not a mechanical issue. It's not a bearing or bushing kind of. It's just a rubber isolator that's worn out, and it's just allowing the rear end to move more than it should. That's all. Simple fix. I'm not even sure it's bolted in, honestly. I think it's just shoved in there, and literally the capture between the rear end housing and the mount holds it in place just from the friction of it. I don't know. I didn't look that close at it, but I found them online. It's only like $34 for the part. The rubber bushing. I'm just not positive if I need one or two. So I got to get the car back in the air and see if I need one or two. But yeah, simple fix. Car drives fine. Air's cold. Somebody was fucking in the trunk with the radio. They cut all the speaker wires and rerouted them, trying to bypass the amp because the amp's in the trunk. And I assume they thought the amp was bad. And instead of buying an amp, they were just going to wire the speakers direct and let the radio power them. Well, the radio has no amperage at all. That's why the amp's in the trunk. So that didn't work. So the radio turns on. You can go to the different stations. You just can't hear anything. There's no output. So I just got to go on eBay and find a used, or go to a local salvage yard and buy a amp out of the trunk of a CTS and put it in, and then fix the wires that they cut, and it should be fine. So nothing tragic. Pretty simple stuff to fix. Not a big deal. The wagon's the one it needs the most. It needs a lot of TLC. It needs to be cleaned up a lot. The gate doesn't work. The gate won't open. The window goes up, but you can open the window, but you can't fold the gate either out sideways like a door or down like a tailgate. It's a dual gate, and in neither one, it's locked somehow. And it's very hard to get in it because since you can't open the gate to get in it, the only way in is you got to prop the window open because the struts are wore out. I should probably go buy struts for it first so that the window will stay up out of my way so that I can crawl over the gate to get in the back. I did get in there once already and took the back panel off the gate so I could see inside. But I didn't figure, it's so hot out there. I didn't stay out there long enough to figure out exactly what's not connected to let me unlock the gate. So change out what? Craig, which car are we talking about? Yeah, the guy wants $124.99 for this Wix set, and he wants another $42.64 in shipping. So, oh no, that's not what he wants in shipping. What's he want in shipping? That's a payment thing. Hang on a minute. Let me see what he wants in shipping. Oh, free shipping. Oh, okay. All right. So $125, free shipping. I paid $60 and the shipping was only $8. So with tax, I paid $71, something like that, $72. I don't know, something like that. And he wants $125. And mine was, it would have been opened. It wasn't still wrapped in the plastic. He'd had it open. So, and I'm okay with that. I don't care. The box is in perfect condition. It comes with a certificate of authenticity and a plaque, and everything inside was perfect. There was nothing wrong with anything. The cars were in perfect condition. So I'm super happy. Oh, the bushings on the rear end? Okay. I'm not the least bit worried, Craig. I've already looked underneath it and saw, the control arms that hold and everything, and it's not a problem. It's not going to be a problem to fix that at all. I can easily handle it. changing the O2 sensor in my charger was harder because of where it was against the inner body and trying to get a socket on it. And it was in so tight I had to torch it out. So I literally had to take the exhaust manifold off the engine, get it on the ground, and hit it with a torch to get that O2 sensor out of the exhaust manifold because it was in there way too fucking tight. So that was a way harder job than changing these bushings. Okay, let's see. What time is it anyway? I gotta go pee. 11:19. All right, guys. I've been drinking sodas all night at the car show, including this one I just finished up. I guess I hadn't finished it. Now I did. So I gotta go pee. But I got cold refills right here. I came right in from the car show straight in here, so just brought my cold refills with me. So let me go pee real quick. I think I'm just gonna pee outside. I don't have to go in the house. So I'll be back in a minute. That's not it. Oh, okay. All right. All right. Be right back. Yeah, that was a lot longer. So as I got up, I realized, you know what? I got to poop. So then I didn't have to go in the house. And then I remembered I haven't taken my pills today, my blood pressure pills. So I need to go inside and do that. So I went inside. So as a bonus, I decided to bring all my toys out so that I could do a little show and tell since I took way too long to get back. So to make it up to you guys, I'm going to show you my what I bought. All right. So okay. So first, I'm going to save the best for last. Let me see. Yeah, did I fall in? No, Philip, I didn't. Like I said, I took my pills and I brought my toys. So, all right. So I'm going to show you this one first. This is I already have this one. I bought another one. So the one I have is out of the box. This one's still in the box. So this Daytona here is pretty cool. Oh, hang on, I gotta change the camera. Let me change the camera to here. Okay. So this is very cool. You know, this is one of those Jada big time muscle. So this is the hood opens, the trunk opens, all four doors open. It's all chromed out under the hood. It's chromed out in the trunk. It's got big speakers and stuff in it, and I'll show you that in a minute because I have one out of the box. But so I display this at the car shows, the one that's out of the box. So now I'll probably display both. I'll probably put this one somewhere in the box, and then I'll have the other one displayed out of the box. But I've been looking for another one of these. You know, this is 20 years old, guys. All right, this model came out 20 years ago. This is an 06. I haven't found this in a long time, and then it popped up, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna buy it. Fuck it, I like this one. Now I did put 20-inch chrome 5-spoke wheels on my car. That's not the wheel it's supposed to be on the Daytona. The 20-inchers are on the Super B, and they're not chrome on the Super B. They're a polished aluminum, and I have a set of those wheels on my Super B, and then I bought another set of them, the exact wheels that go on the Super B. So I have two sets of those wheels, and then I bought these chrome, plastic-cladded chrome ones that look just like these wheels. So my car currently is sitting on these chrome wheels, 20-inchers. So it looks even closer to this than it did with the stock wheels on it. So I bought one of these. That was pretty cool. And then I bought the Go Mango colored one. Now this one was already out of the box. Same car, just in the Go Mango color. And that's what it looks like under the hood. Now it's got, oh, mine does that too. The hood doesn't want to stay up on it because it's heavy. This is all steel. Well, actually, I don't think it's steel. It's metal. I don't know what pot metal it's made out of, but so it's got some chrome under the hood and a lot of detail, but not as much detail as it could. And then here's the trunk. And the trunk's got, you know, I don't know, whatever the hell. There's amps, I guess, down at the bottom, and then I don't know what's on the sides here. Speakers, I don't know. So, and then in the back window, there's giant speakers through the back glass there. And then same thing, the doors, the back doors open. the back doors are hard to get open because the windows are up. So you got to kind of slap it around to get those open. The front doors, the windows down so you can open them. So all 4 doors open. There's all kinds of detail on the doors, and I don't know if any of you guys do this diecast stuff, but it's pretty detailed. Oh, I just noticed that this thing's missing the steering wheel. Yeah, I'm going to contact this guy. There's damage on the back window, but the steering wheel's gone. So I'm going to have to contact him. I'm not too happy with this. But anyway, yeah, so I got that. And then here's the wind Wix air filter kit. Move this out of the way. And these are very, very detailed, even more than those. So there's a plastic cover that was over this. I pulled it off and I set it aside in the living room, and I can't find it. I'm sure it's still there, but I can't find it. So, but when you pull this out of the box, you see the bottom is all in wrap, and I haven't even pulled this off yet. So let's pull it off. And then even there's plastic here on the quarter panel where the door, to protect the door when it closes. And I'm going to leave that on there for now. There's plastic on both sides, and the hood opens. And there's a prop rod. You don't need the prop rod, but it's there. It's on the cowl here, on the top of the radiator support. And it's made out of metal, the prop rod, because there's a magnet in the top of the core support to hold it in place. So you have to literally pull it off the magnet, which is not the easiest thing to do. And then it did the same thing. It fell off the hinge. I'm not going to fool with that, but yeah, you put the prop rod on it like this, so it looks authentic. And there's a lot of detail under the hood here too as well. There's a lot of I can't. And I start blocking my own light when I turn it too far. So, and then the interior here. And if you look at the steering wheel, it turns with the wheels. Not accurately, but it is connected. So as you move the wheels back and forth, the steering wheel turns. Just a little effect. And then of course the full detail. It's just it's got a shifter and the dashboards and all that. And the trunk is got felt in it to look like a fully detailed trunk. You can't see it in there. I don't know if I flash a flashlight in there or not. That'll help. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it's all felt in there. I think there's felt on the floorboards too to look like carpet. And so very cool model. And like I said, I found one on the marketplace that's identical to this. It's the B5 blue, same wheels. Of course, the instrument panel is identical to mine, and the charger. And it's got the same RT. If you look at the end of the decal there in the quarter, it says RT, and it looks like it's a black, just like this one. It says RT. It's identical to this. And so if I don't get that one, I'll just keep looking until I find one. But I think, because I'm not buying nothing new, And I would really love to have this B5 blue, matches this car. Would be really cool. All right, and then and we'll put the plastic back on it later. I'm not going to mess with that right now. But very, very cool, guys. And then the 70, same thing. There's an antenna sticking up through the plastic here. Let's pull this off. Okay. And the paint on this is just as beautiful as that one. And even, I don't think the oil pan, yeah, the whole bottom exhaust is all there. Rear end, control arms, it's all there. Mufflers and then resonators. So everything is there. And same on this one. And even the motor is orange, Hemi orange, which is what it was back in the day. So, same thing. Got the exhaust mufflers and tailpipes and leaf springs on the back there. I imagine it's got the torsion bars on the front. I don't know if you guys knew this about Chrysler. If you're not a Chrysler guy, back in the day on this model, not the new one, but on these, I'll show you here. For me, I thought this was a stupid idea. I don't know. I would have never done this for the very reason why it kept failing. Okay, so this black rod right there. See that one right there? That rod right there. There's another one over here. You can't see it because the exhaust is, but the same thing is right here under the exhaust. You can't see it, but it's another one of those, same thing. And that's hooked to the suspension, and it's a torsion bar. And the way they would adjust the ride height is they twist that bar, and the twisting action on the bar of it trying to return is what holds the car up. And depending on where you index this bar is where the ride height is adjusted. And then that bar, as the car is going up and down, the bar is twisting and untwisting. Well, as soon as you start to get a little rust in the frame rail here, right here, the bar twists out of the frame rail and the car falls on the ground. That was the design. There's no coil spring, no leaf spring. It's a torsion bar. Stupid idea. I don't know why anybody would have thought that was a good idea, but I think that was a stupid idea. So, but what are you going to do? That's the way they did it. I have not opened this hood yet. Oh, I don't know. It probably. There we go. Okay, so yeah, it's all Hemi orange. The air cleaner, the engine itself, and the air cleaner, and it's probably a 440. Let me look. Could be it could be a 426, but I don't think so. Not in the RT. Actually, I think it is. I've never seen this particular decal. The word Hemi is across the top of the air cleaner in black letters on the orange air cleaner. And in the crossbar of the H is the number 426, it looks like. It's very hard to read it. It's so tiny, but I think that's what it says. So this is a big block 426 Hemi in this car, which I didn't think would be in the RT. The Super B, yes. I didn't think the RT would have got the 426. but apparently it did. So, again, very detailed, and the steering wheel moves with the wheel, just like the other one. Very nice paint. Neither one of them are perfect, but they're damn close. I'm very happy with these cars. Um, so, yeah, I think it's a really neat collector set. And I'll probably never own a 70 Challenger because they'd be $90,000 a good one. But this '09 for roughly 20,000, yeah, that's a doable. And I would love to have this car, and the be the exact color as this, exact wheels as this. It looks exactly like this. So, yeah, I wouldn't mind having that. We'll see. You know, not the three cars I'm selling, I never plan to keep. Those were all bought to flip. When I bought them to flip them. So those cars are going to go. I always wanted a Challenger. That's always been on the table. I really want a yellow Challenger. But now that I bought this, now I want both the yellow one and the blue one. So I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. I don't know if I'll get either. So one of my good friends at the car show bought a 2023 Challenger, an RT, and it's one of what they call the last call because it was being discontinued. The 23-year Challengers were the last ones, supposedly. Um, and that's back to the same thing on the contract, right? So all these guys spent all this money to buy this last call car because Dodge said we're not making them anymore, and then they changed their mind. So now these cars aren't the last call. So they started to sue, Stellantis, the parent company, because their cars aren't going to be unique any longer. They're going to, they bought them being unique, last ones, and now they're not going to be the last ones. So they lost, because in the contract, we have the right to change our mind, blah blah. So thanks, Craig. Yeah, I love this stuff. That's why I started 3D printing them. Because why not? If I can, reproduce this stuff at will and make it paint it whatever color, and it's pretty cool. So anyway, so my buddy sold. He had a green, this lime green, the Sublime, which I love that color, and that's what I printed this for him, because it's it's close to his color. His color was pretty close to this. I think his might have been a little brighter green than this, but pretty close. And this is an RT Challenger. It's all right. The tail lights are correct, and the nose is correct. We had a little issue right here on the lip here, but I can fix that. Not a big deal. And then, of course, we've got this bubbling crap because this particular file, especially the back window, you see all the bubbling on the back window's terrible. So I got you got to sand it out and paint it. No big deal. But overall, the car came out really nice. I like it. It's pretty cool. But he sold it, which made me cry because I love that car and I love the color. and he sold it to buy he bought a 69 Chevelle SS with a 454 big block in it. No air conditioning. Of course, it's a 70, so no power windows, no AC, no nothing. I mean, it's I'm not even sure there's power steering. He sold that beautiful Challenger, and then had to kick in a shitload of money to buy the 69 Chevelle SS. And it turned out to be, I mean, it's a nice looking car. It's new paint on it, this off orange color, almost the color. It's a lighter orange, but it's close to this orange. It's on this bottle here, a little lighter than that. Almost like a pastel orange, which I don't think is the right color. But it had the correct black stripe down the side, and overall it looked pretty good. But when he brought it to the show, I started looking at it, and it's got to be full of Bondo, because the door and the quarter panel are just wavy as the ocean. There's a dent in the driver's door below the molding that he didn't see. The bottom of the driver's door is not even all the way across, and it's partially overhanging in the back, but not in the front. And it's not right. It's not horrible by any means, but it's not right. And to pay, I forget how much he paid, but he paid a lot of money for it. And to have it not as good as the car he had, and twice as much money, and no AC, and I don't think it was a good, for me anyway, it wasn't a good deal. I wouldn't have done it, and he's not happy with it either. And I told you, because they offered, he was already complaining about a bunch of things that didn't work on the car. The brakes weren't right, and there's a bunch of stuff they were going to fix. Oh, we'll fix all that, and they didn't fix it. They kept the car 3 days so they could fix all that shit, and they didn't fix any of it. So he got pissed and said, listen, I bought the car. I've already paid you for the car. You told me you're going to fix this stuff. I still don't have my car. What's the deal? So they told him that if he doesn't like it, he could bring it back. And but they're not going to give him his money back. He can just put the money toward one of the other cars they sell. Well, everything else they were selling in that price range / body style era were more money. So he's going to have to kick in more money to buy a different car. He's not happy. He's not at all happy. And I told him, listen, I didn't mean to rag on your car, but the only reason I said anything is because they said that you could bring it back. So I thought you should know what's wrong with it, and then so you were informed whether you wanted to take it back or not. Not say anything, and then the passes by, and then you find out it's bad, and then I tell you, well, I could have said something, but I didn't, and then you'd be mad at me because I didn't say something. So I just said, listen, I'm just going to tell you. And I showed him everything was wrong with it, and he got pretty depressed. And so he wanted me to go with him back down there the next day to look at a different car, and he never called me back, and he finally made a decision. They gave him $1,100 off the price he paid so that he could take care of the oil leak on the oil pan, take care of the brakes, take care of, there was something else. All the windshield washers didn't work. The squirters didn't work. I don't know. It's a bunch of little shit that, he was pissed off about. And now he's got the car. Now, I haven't talked to him since. It's been 2 weeks. I don't know if he's happy with it or not. I don't know. I try to tell him, because the first thing he said to me is he's going to drive this new one, or he's going to get his wife to drive the Chevelle, and he's going to keep driving his brand new 2023 Challenger. And I just laughed at him. I said, "That's never going to happen, dude. You're going to be driving the new Chevelle. Your wife's going to be driving the Challenger because she's going to want all the creature comforts, power steering and power brakes and air conditioning and, all the creature comforts that come with that. The nice stereo, and, with, it's probably a Bose 12 speaker system. I don't know, not the 69 Chevelle with two coaxial speakers in the deck lid, the package tray in the back, and an AM/FM radio. That's not going to fly." I just told him, I said, "You're dreaming if you think your wife's going to drive the Chevelle while you drive the. You're going to be driving the Chevelle." But I thought he was keeping it. Then he went ahead and sold the Challenger and bought this car. And I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. I did send him now he paid, it's a 2023. I think he paid 30. I think he paid 35,000 for it. He sold it back to the people he bought it from for 34. So he lost $1,000. He probably only put 200 miles on it in the time frame he's had it because he doesn't go anywhere. And then he lost $1,000 on it and bought the Challenger. And so he was going to put another $1,000 on another car. So I know he has an extra, another $10,000. So I know he has $10,000 to work with. So I found a Challenger on Marketplace for $9,000. That's the same body and everything as his car. I think it's an 11. So it still has the old dash, just like mine. Or no, that one might have had the new dash in it too, come to think of it. Yeah, I think it did. So it's either an 11 or 12. It does have the new dash. I'm sure it doesn't have all that fancy ass, you got a G meter and a quarter mile time and an engine dyno in the dash. I'm sure it doesn't have all that, but it would look and feel like the Challenger he had. It was black with chrome wheels or polished wheels, not the green, but it was a Challenger with probably the same seats and, basically the same interior and for $9,000. And I thought maybe he'll buy that and have them both. That maybe that'll make him feel better a little bit to have, his Challenger, not his, but a Challenger back for peanuts of what he paid for the other one and the 69 and maybe feel better. So I sent him that link. I don't know if he bought it or not. He hasn't said. But, I tried to give him a fallback to keep all the creature comforts and have his 69 so he could, because I don't think he's going to drive the 69. The Challenger was pretty much his daily driver. I don't think he's going to want to drive the 69 to the mall and leave it parked outside where somebody will steal it. It's just too much of a worry to have a car like that, a specialty car like that, to drive around regularly and feel safe when you park it somewhere, that somebody's not going to, steal it or damage it. So I don't know. We'll see. I don't know where he's at. I hope I see him. He didn't come this Tuesday. He said he had a dentist appointment, so I didn't see him this past Tuesday. Maybe this coming Tuesday I'll see him and we'll catch up and he can tell me whether he bought the Challenger or he may show up in the Challenger or, did he get the air in the? It was going to cost him $3,400 to put air conditioning in the Chevelle. Yikes! But anyway, I don't know. We'll see. I wouldn't have made the decision he'd made, but that's me. Everybody's different. There was a GTO he was looking at. I would have bought the GTO unless it's in the same condition this Chevelle was in, but The shell's pretty, the body's pretty rough. I don't know what's underneath it, how many patches, how much Bondo, but it's got to be a lot. As wavy as it is, it wasn't done very well. Whoever painted it, they didn't block it out worth of shit. The amount of waves in it, I mean, it looks good. You stand back and look at it. It looks great. I mean, but real car guys know what to look for. Yeah, that's and his biggest thing was he wanted to buy an investment. This car wasn't an investment. He'll never get what he paid for it out of it. Not the condition it's in. As bad as the bodywork is and everything, he'll never get his money out of that car. So he just better be happy with it, because I think he's pretty much stuck with it. I mean, he could trade it off again and pick, buy a lesser Challenger than the one he had, and just settle on maybe a 21 or a 19, which all look the same. They're all the same car. It won't be a last call or any of that, but he could probably get one of those in the 18 to 20 range. And if he could sell the Chevelle for, I think he paid, I want to say he paid $59,000 for it, I think. I think he told me he had $70,000 to play with. And now he did pay the Chevelle off, or the Challenger. So he did get that $33,000 back to work with. So I don't know. I don't know what he's going to do. I don't know. It may all work out for him. If he's happy, he's happy. I hope he's happy with it. Like I said, it's a pretty car. I wouldn't have paid $59,000 for it. I'd have probably paid $35,000 maybe for it, but I wouldn't have paid that astronomical number for a car with no AC, oil pans leaking, rear ends leaking. I think the rear end was leaking. The windshield washer squirters don't work. I mean, there was a bunch of little shit wrong with it, and they didn't fix any of it. Oh, we'll fix all that, and they didn't fix any of it. Had the car for 3 days and didn't fix any of it. So, yeah, so I think he paid way too much and didn't get what he wanted, I don't think. But we'll see. We'll have to wait and see. I'll get an update Tuesday. We'll find out. But I sure love I kept telling that's my car. Don't you sell my car? I love that green Challenger. That thing was beautiful. And the only thing I loved more than it, honestly, was, and I didn't know I loved it that much more, but we were sitting there. I had my Charger there, my yellow Charger, and his green, right next to his sublime green Challenger, and we're just hanging out, and everything's great. And what comes rolling in is a yellow Challenger. And I can't even tell you guys how that affected me. It just bam, hit me. Like, that's my car. I mean, that's how I felt. It just took my breath away. It's chrome wheels and just a beautiful, probably 18. Could have been back. It could have been all the way back as an 09. It could have been. I didn't go look at it. But it come rolling in, and it just took my breath away. I couldn't believe it. I said, "Oh my God, that's my car." That's what it had. The impact it had on me was that's my car. So I know I really want a yellow one. I don't know if I'm going to ever find one, but yeah, I definitely want a yellow. But now that I found this commemorative and diecast with the blue, and I love the blue one too. Well, we'll see. I'll keep you posted. Nothing's going to happen tomorrow, that's for sure. It's going to be a while. Either I have to wait a year until my Social Security kicks in, or my attorneys get on the ball and get me my disability. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I'll find out Monday. I'm calling them and raising some stink. I might end up firing them and hire somebody else. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm not I'm not happy at all about what I went through today. That was a waste of my fucking time. I could have told him over the phone. Yeah, I'm mobile. Everything works. Yeah, it don't work very long, and I can't do much with it. But yeah, it functions. My hands work, my feet work, my legs work, my arms work. Yeah, my neck works. Yeah, my smile works. I can smile, and I can frown. Yeah, that works. So what does that give you? What kind of information does that tell you? Just because I can move my extremities means I can go back to work? Seriously? That's what you determine whether I can file for disability or not, is because I can move my extremities? Anyway, so we'll see. I don't know. Not happy. Not at all happy. I hope my attorneys will make some phone calls and find out what the fuck is going on, because this was stupid. It had nothing to do with my injuries. I guess, yeah, if my foot was missing, which I could have told that over the phone too. Well, I guess you qualify for disability because you're missing a foot. Oh, okay. I don't know. I've heard it's a real battle, and you get denied 3 times and all this bullshit. Well, I haven't been denied once yet, but I have an attorney, and I think that's why I just haven't been up and denied yet, because I guess they don't do that to attorneys. They have to go through all the motions. They're just taking their merry fucking time about going through the motions. So, but today was a complete waste of time. That didn't tell them anything. Didn't tell them a damn thing about my ability to work. So, and the fact that nobody's going to hire a 66-year-old. They want to hire young kids like Phil's farmer did, which is not a kid at 32, but he acts like a kid, and he was completely worthless. Didn't do the job, did $25,000 damage while he was on the job, comes in late, in his pajamas, with no boots. I mean, I don't know. That's what they want to hire. It's not a 66-year-old that would have come and work, if I could. And the reason I bring that up is a friend of mine's a registered nurse, and she's my age, and she can't get a job either. She's doing temp work right now for a temp agency, but she's trying to get a real job. Nobody will hire her. Same thing. She's got all the qualifications, excellent worker, excellent person, but she's old. Nobody wants to hire her. And at 66, they probably figure she's going to retire in a year anyway. Why would we hire a trainer? All for her to just next year she's going to quit anyway, right? 67. So I don't know. But yeah, she's the one that said, yeah, age discrimination is bullshit. It's absolutely a real thing, and it is. I know too, because like I said, I've applied for a shitload of jobs I haven't gotten. I didn't even get. Listen to this, guys. I didn't even get a bag boy job at Publix. How about that? The job that Matt does. They wouldn't hire me for that position. I tried to get that position. Couldn't even get that one. Now, what possible reason could they have? And Matt, are you still here? You're part-time, right? You're not even full-time. You're just part-time, right? I guess you're working close to full-time hours, but you're not technically full-time, or am I wrong? I thought that's what you said. So yeah, I couldn't even get that position. My particular Publix, they've got 2 or 3 Down syndrome employees working that job. So I'm like, well, do I have to be, do I have to have a disability, a defect, whatever you want to call it? Yeah, part-time, like 30 hours. Do you get any medical or anything there? I mean, you've been there a while, so do they have a medical plan that you're part of, or do they not offer that to part-time employees? I mean, according to the internet, Publix is a great company to work for. That's why I wanted to get a job there. I figured, Matt's doing it, and he's happy. Why not? I was gonna do it. They won't hire me, so I don't know. You qualify for eye and dental, but not regular medical insurance. Do you have regular insurance? Or did you buy it outright somewhere else, or are you still under your dad's insurance? How does that work? So you don't have any health insurance. If you were full time, then you'd have a plan through Publix. Do you have any idea what they charge you for that plan? How much do you have to pay for that plan? Um, Related but unrelated, and I'll get to that in a minute. How long does it take you to drive to Disney from your house? I think you're closer to Disney than I am. Oh, 3 hours. Oh, okay. Oh, I thought you were closer than that. Okay. All right. I was going to just tell you that you could be a bus driver, start $27 an hour, full time, full paid insurance, good insurance, free, um, all kinds of perks. But yeah, 3 hours is a hike. I wouldn't recommend that. Anyway, yeah. All right. Let's see what else. So I'm still putzing around with this, and it's coming out great, But I just haven't had time to work on it. Um, I've been concentrating on the cars. The last window regulator came in today, so tomorrow when I get home from church, I'm going to finish Michelle's car, get the two window regulators in it, and then I just have to check the air of the tires, and I think I'm done. Oh, and maybe change out that headlight socket. I'll have to check that. But I can get her car out of here, and I did the oil change, put spark plugs in it, got it running again. It's running perfect, and so taking a lot of sanding. Well, not really. You know, because you whittle most of it off with a knife. It comes off in. Hang on. Let me. God, I wish I had my little grabber tool. So you start off, Michael, just slicing pieces off like this. All right. So here's a piece. Okay, that was on the end. So that's the raw on the outside, and then the inside, you see all the little pock marks. That's where it aerated and left bubbles. And then here's another piece this is the outside, and then you slice it off, and there's more of the bubble holes. And then it's just, slices like this, and you just keep slicing shaving it off like you're shaving a block of cheese, and you're shaving it off, and you get all these little pieces till you get really close to the airplane, and then you just start sanding, and it sands like foam. I mean, the Gorilla Glue sands super easy. So you just sand it down till you get it, where you want it, and like I said, here you can see. Okay, let me turn it this way a little more. All right, so that's Gorilla Glue. That's Gorilla Glue. Bare Gorilla Glue. Right here is bare Gorilla Glue. The pink red, that's putty. So I over sanded or under extruded Gorilla Glue, whatever you want to call it, a little bit, and I had to put red putty on it and then block that off. But this is perfectly smooth right here. The only thing I need to do now is a primer coat and then one more fill coat of something, either the red putty or that special. There's a final there's a Bondo that's made for final layer that fills in all those pinholes, and super easy to sand for final finishing before you paint. So I could get some of that and put that on it, or I could just do the red putty. I don't know. I've been concentrating on. I was cutting the grass, working on the lawnmower, cutting grass, working on cars. I haven't had time to play with this really. A little bit, I did put a little more putty on it, and you just saw me sanding on that a little bit. But I really haven't had time to work on this because this isn't a priority right now. But it's coming out really good. I mean, it would totally fly the way it is. This is all cosmetic work now. It's fixed. It'll fly perfect. I still have to fix the cowl here. I thought about gluing this back in. I could do it, but I don't think I'm gonna bother. The cowl's not that expensive. So I gotta buy a propeller anyway. So I'm gonna buy a propeller and a cowl. That way this engine will be perfect. This is part of the cowl. And yeah, so I'm just gonna buy a new cowl and put it on it. I have to do a little repair work in here, but I don't have to make it pretty because you can't see it. The cowl covers it up. So just for structural, And then I have to do a little more work on the wing saddles because they stretched. So I'll probably put a filler in there of some kind, probably some Gorilla Glue, so that the straps will pull it back in all the way. Right now, they all got elongated, so the straps are loose that hold it in because it's, but that's not a big deal. That's easy fix. So yeah, it's it's coming out great. I mean, it's going to be a great repair when it's done. It'll fly perfect, look perfect. I still have to cut it right here for the light. This light here, there's a landing light, and it has to come straight out here and sit in a pocket right there. and then this cover goes over it. Right here. So I still have to create that pocket to put this in. That's not going to be a problem. So just some minor little stuff, but yeah, it came out beautiful. It's, there's a lot of little repair work to do on the wings still. Is out here, this is all, you can't see it on the camera, but this is all boogered up. But it's just literally, it's like a bamboo skewer with a point on it. The brush that the plane landed in, these were all sticking up with their points. So the points poked holes in the plane right here in the leading edge. And there's just a shitload of little teeny poked holes from the rough, the grass, in the weeds that just kind of poke little holes in it. And I just have to, skim coat that with something, probably the putty, to fill all that back in and make it smooth, and then I can paint it. No big deal. The rest of this is simple work. This was the big job, was rebuilding this wing. But it really came out really good. I'm super happy the way that came out. And it's not hard work. It really isn't. You spend more time waiting for the glue to dry than you do working on it. Once the glue dries, you just shave and then sand and done. It's quick. The big, was getting the glue in it. I had 5 of these barbecue skewers in here so that the foam had something to grab hold of. So that just gave some rigidity to this area to kind of hold it all together. And it's really nice. When it's done, nobody's ever going to know that plane was the one that went in the tree, and I'm going to laugh at everybody out the field when they see it. And they say, because they'll probably ask, "Hey, whatever to the one that went in the tree?" "Oh, this is it." "Oh, what'd you do? Put a new wing on it?" "Nope, that's the wing. I fixed it." "How the hell did you fix it with those big pieces of foam?" I did a video. Go watch it. It's on YouTube. I'll show you exactly how I did it. I filmed the whole thing. So go watch the video. And I did lose a control arm that I didn't know I lost. But I have some of this material here. I can make that. But I didn't know I'd lost that. I didn't think I had. Thought I had it. Maybe I did, and it fell off here in the shop. Maybe it's inside the airplane. I don't know. But yeah, I have one control arm that's missing. The other ones are fine. They're all here. Everything's fine. Rudder, elevator, everything's here except that one control rod for the outer aileron. That's it. So yeah, just a simple cowl and propeller. Good to go. Didn't hurt the landing gear any. The landing gear was up. This particular door was already missing when it went into the tree. One of these, which is very common on this airplane. If you own one of these airplanes, for some reason, I don't know why, and maybe they fixed it on the new one. I haven't had a yellow one do it yet, but, well, I guess I did. Or no. Yeah, this is it. Yeah, the reason this one's missing is this is it. For some reason, these break pins, the hinge pin here. I don't know why. I have no idea. On the white ones, the old ones, these were breaking all the time. It would be hard. You'd hard find a T-28 that had this door. And that's what they would call the inner door. The outer door, the part that covers the wheel, that never breaks off. It's always this one. I don't know why. I mean, sometimes they do get hung. The timing on them is, mechanical, and you can adjust the arm to try to keep it from happening. But the two of them come down like this, and then they stop like this, and then when they go up the other way, the one has to go over the other like this, and they do get stuck sometimes, but you would think it would, pop itself off of it instead of breaking the pin. But that might be what causes the pin to break. I don't know. But I've seen them catch every once in a while, and I try to keep that adjusted so it doesn't happen, but it still happens. Yeah. Other than that, I love these airplanes. Definitely my. If I can only have one, this is be it. If I had to go all the way down to one airplane, this is the one I'd keep. Again, it's not my favorite airplane. I have planes I like more than this one, but only this much more. And this plane fills all I can fly it in scale, military, giant scale, fun fly. It fits all the, I can go to any event except a jet event and fly in any event that anybody's having. It fits it checks all the boxes. So I can go anywhere with this one airplane if it's the only one I have. All the other planes I like are all either a twin that isn't giant scale, or it is giant scale, but not, maybe it's military only, it's not civilian, so there's a lot of, or it's a jet, and then you can only go to a jet event, or a military. Sometimes the military events will let you do jets and prop. It just depends, but this is the one that checks all the boxes, except jet. So I don't own any jets that would, qualify for giant scale. I don't have a jet that big. If I buy that F-35 from Motion, I doubt it. That might qualify for giant. I don't know. It's pretty damn big. I do have a jet that would probably qualify. My MB339. That's a 10. I think that's a 105 fan. That might qualify. It's pretty big. I haven't flown that one yet. Yeah. So anyway, I just love this airplane enough that it would be if I could only have one, this would be it. The cops are there again, Michael? Oh, no, not again. All right. Well, have a good night, man. We'll see you later. JCB, you're out of here too? All right, buddy. We'll see you later. Have a good night. Yeah, I think I'm going to call it too. I've pretty much gone over everything I wanted to talk about. I showed you my new Diecast toys. We worked on this briefly. Talked about my stupid doctor's appointment, which was a waste of time. Yeah, I think we covered everything. Got anything left you want to talk about before we go? Any questions? Any comments? Any wants, likes, whatever? Whatever. And other than that, yeah, I'm just going to call it because unfortunately I don't have too much RC content right now because I'm just too busy with other stuff. I mainly have to get these two cars out of here that aren't mine. Once they're gone, then I can go flying and make time to go flying and do shit. And so that's going to change drastically as soon as I get these two cars out of here. I think one's going to be gone tomorrow. The other one's going to be gone one way or the other next week. If I fix it, it's gone. If I don't fix it, I'm just going to tell him, because he's called me. He wants to do something with the car, either scrap it or sell it as is or fix it, whatever. He just wants to get rid of it. So one way or the other, that car's going next week too. So the two cars are going to be out of here by next week, one way or the other, fixed or unfixed. Her car, not a problem. It's fixed. His car, I don't know. We'll see. That's why I hate working on front wheel drive cars. They're just pain in the ass. I hate those things. So All right. Well, nobody's speaking up, so I guess we're going to call it. So, all right, guys. Thanks for coming. Glad y'all were here. Hope you had fun. Yeah, a little bit of fun. And I'll catch you guys next week. I am going to fire up my 3D printer, though, and print some wheels. Got to change out the white for black. I think the printer's okay. I don't think it's jammed. I don't think the white jammed it, so I think I'm good. So if I am, I'm going to print some wheels tonight and fire that off. And then I'm going to print another 300. This, because this file came out really beautiful. And a buddy of mine had a 300 just like this that he sold. And I told him, I'm going to 3D print you a version of it you're going to love. So he'll be excited as hell to get that. So I'm going to print him one too. And I got to finish this up for my other buddy. I'm going to finish my Iron Man shield. I got to finish that. And then I have 3 batlets to finish. I want to get all 3 of my batlets finished. And then I don't know what I'm going to do. Print some more cars. I definitely want to do more. I guess I'm going to have to for Craig, my buddy that sold his Challenger. I guess I'm going to have to find a '69 Chevelle now and print him one of those. We'll see. So, but anyway, all right, guys, that's going to do it. We'll catch you guys next week. Have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you guys later. All right, see you. All right, let me shut this thing down. Stop streaming.